All right, I've spent more than 1,000 hours inside ChatGPT. I've lost track. And there's so many common mistakes that people are making when it comes to choosing the right mode or even how to get the most out of ChatGPT. So consider this your very fast cheat sheet. All right, my name is Jordan Wilson, and this is AI in 5. We do this every single day. So, Everyday AI is a free daily live stream podcast and daily newsletter helping everyday people like me and you learn and leverage generative AI. And one of the best things to leverage, as we all know, is ChatGPT. But there is so much confusion around ChatGPT and just bad information, like actually a lot of bad information. So I'm going to clear it up for you all really quick. So give me about 4 more minutes and you're going to know the basics of everything ChatGPT. So ChatGPT obviously is a large language model. It's hard to kind of hard to explain, but think of it like this: the history of the internet and more is inside of GPT. GPT is a technology, so you have GPT 3.5 right here. So if you sign up for a ChatGPT account and you have a free account, this is what you have access to: GPT 3.5. It is very fast, but not very powerful. If I'm being honest, it is not very useful at all. Sorry, this is not. GPT-4 requires a paid plan. So with that, you have ChatGPT Plus. Then you have access to all of these different modes inside of ChatGPT. $20 a month, it's a steal. It is worth hundreds of dollars a month, if I'm being honest. So before we get into modes, you first have to understand settings. So to go into settings, you go in the bottom left-hand corner, and you saw that you can toggle this sidebar on and off. So if you go into settings, you have to make sure that you have your beta features enabled. So plugins and advanced data analysis. So there used to be other kind of beta features that you had to toggle on and off, but they're now just activated by default, just FYI. So you can go in more into general settings, data controls, all that if you want to, but we're really just focusing on modes here. All right, so let's quickly talk about the mode. So like I said, GPT 3.5 is the free version. Don't really use it, if I'm being honest. And there's not a lot of utility in it. Okay, so when you go to GPT-4 and you hover, you'll see that there's a couple different modes. So let me just quickly explain. So you have default, you have browse with Bing, you have advanced data analysis, you have plugins, and then you have DALL-E 3. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to show you when and why you should use each mode. So default, if you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would say never use default. But there is one new feature, which is kind of what people are calling Dolly Vision, right? So as an example, I can upload an image and say, please describe this. This was an image that I did inside, or no, this is actually from Midjourney's website. So this is the only mode. The default mode is the only mode right now where you can upload an image by default without using any other plugins. Well, technically you can do it in advanced data analysis, but this is, if you've heard of GPT-4V or GPT-4 Vision, that's kind of what this mode is describing. But right now it is only available in default mode. So, you can do a lot of great things inside this mode. I've actually done a video already on this that I will link to. All right, so what you'll see is once you start a chat, and this is something that a lot of people get wrong, once you start a chat, you cannot switch modes. So that's very important. And this is why I do mostly everything inside plugins mode, but more on that in a bit. So now that I'm in this mode, I can no longer switch. So if I wanted to continue a conversation or do something else, you have to start a new chat, which you really shouldn't do. You should be training chats. We actually do something called the Prime Prompt Polish, where we teach you how to create expert chats using our method. So if you want access to that, it's a free course, no upsell or anything. Just leave a comment that says PPP, and I'll make sure to get you access. So let's go into a new chat and look at these other modes. So browse with Bing. Browse with Bing, essentially, it allows you to query the internet. So I can say, as an example, did the Bears win their last NFL game? Okay, so with all other modes, the default cutoff in GPT-4 is January 2022. So what that means is it's a lot of old information, right? So it did recently get updated, GPT-4 did, from the knowledge cutoff being September 2021 to January 2022. So essentially, everything in the default model cuts off in GPT-4 at January 2022. So if you go into browse with Bing, I can ask something that happened, 4 days ago. I'm from Chicago. Bears stink. I still love them. But it says here, the Chicago Bears did not win their last NFL game. They lost to the Minnesota Vikings, blah, blah, blah. Also, The browse with Bing feature was previously taken away in July. It was just put back into rotation, I believe, in September. There were some legal issues with it accessing paywalled content. So that is browse with Bing. To tell you the truth, I don't use it. I did a whole episode on that. I'll probably leave that up here as well. All right, let's go into the next mode. So we're going to go in, start a new chat. Let's go with advanced data analysis. So advanced data analysis is kind of like what you would think. It helps you go over data. So I can upload, you can actually upload a lot of different files. People don't know, people don't really know, but you can upload anything from a spreadsheet, a CSV, you can upload a JPEG and do different things. But advanced data analysis is the mode that used to be called code interpreter. So it's great for advanced computing. It's great for, web development, things like that. I don't use it a ton. It's actually a little buggy, if I'm being honest. And hopefully the OpenAI developers know this. But when you do upload a file, and if you log out of your session, or if you start a new session on a different computer on the same account, or you go back a day later, a lot of times it has trouble accessing that file that you uploaded previously. So advanced data analysis is a great mode. It is very flexible. Normal ChatGPT, if I'm being honest, it does struggle with advanced math and calculation. So advanced data analysis is a mode that does great with that. All right, plugins mode. Here's my favorite. This is where I spend the most time and where I recommend people spend the most time as well. So plugin mode, and this is why I don't use Browse with Bing, because if you have an internet connected plugin, you can access the most up-to-date information. So let me ask that same exact question, but I need to say using plugins. So I'm going to say using the browser op plugin. Tell me if the Bears won their last NFL game. So I might actually have to include some more details on this. There's some intricacies with working with internet connected plugins. Did a whole video on that as well. But essentially, and why I like to use plugins is because if you use Browse with Bing, number one, you cannot visit actual websites. All it can do is query the web. But when you are using plugins and using an internet connected plugin, as an example, I can go to this page right here, right? And then I can grab this link. I can go back in and I can say, please summarize this page using a plugin. Sometimes you do have to prompt it to use a plugin. But you'll see right away, it is using the Vox script plugin. So I do have 3 different plugins enabled here. And I can actually see right here as it kind of crawls the web page and it reads it and it understands it. So that's a huge benefit, and why I tell people it's not even really worth it to use the Browse with Bing feature because it cannot visit actual websites. Essentially, if you upload a URL, it will query the keywords after the .com and bring you back a result. And a lot of people don't know that. But right here, we have a very accurate recap of this page, because using plugins is just better. All right. Last but not least, let's go into this one. So the last mode is DALL-E 3. So DALL-E 3 is where you can say, please create a photo that illustrates how bad the Chicago Bears NFL team is, right? All right, I'm just having fun. All right, so we got a little error there. That's the other thing. You're gonna get some random errors. Some random errors sometimes. So all right, it's saying my prompt might have been too negative. It says promoting sportsmanship is important. So I'm going to say please create a photo that illustrates the Chicago Bears losing a NFL game. We'll see if that gives us a better results. So DALL-E, again, DALL-E is a mode that has OpenAI's image generator. Again, I've done some videos on that as well. So this is a great, it's actually really good. So DALL-E 2 was the previous model, not very good. DALL-E 3 was just publicly rolled out to ChatGPT Plus users about 2 weeks ago. And it's actually a pretty good mode. It's running a little slow today. That's usually how it goes when I'm trying to demo things, live for these AI and fives. But one thing, and we'll kind of see it as it generates here, is it actually will generate 4 different images. And it'll also take your prompt and it will kind of finesse it and change the prompt as well. So I'm actually it's running a little slow. I'm going to hit pause. All right, literally as soon as I went to hit pause, it already stopped. So these are some pretty impressive photos, for a very basic prompt. These are pretty good. So you can click on these, and then you can actually, if I zoom out a little bit, we'll be able to see a little bit more. So it does, which I like in DALL-E, it takes your basic prompt and it adds to it. So I can, if I like this photo that it created, but I want something a little different, I can copy this exact prompt. I can go down here and say this photo of an NFL stadium, blah blah blah. So that's this upper left hand corner. So if DALL-E, I think is great. It's actually something that I think Midjourney it does better than Midjourney, which is by far the best AI image generator. But it kind of takes four completely different takes on basic prompts, and then it gives you those prompts. So now I just ran this one in the upper left hand corner, and I'm going to say please create more uh, photos. We'll see if that worked. It's kind of saying it's noticing that I just copy and pasted the previous kind of prompt. So it wasn't returning something back right away. But I mean, if you look at these, to be able to use a good AI image generator inside ChatGPT without logging in or going elsewhere is pretty amazing. All right, so I'm not going to wait around for that to generate, but you get the point. So here is a very quick summary, right? So in general, default, use it if you want to use ChatGPT Vision, if you want to upload, photos and communicate that way. It's actually a great mode within ChatGPT. But for anything else, not really not really worth it, so to speak. Browse with Bing. I don't see any use case to use that. Unless for whatever reason you have in your country, you have access to browse with Bing, but you don't have access to plugins for whatever reason, or if the plugin store temporarily goes down and you need to access up-to-date information, use browse with Bing. Otherwise, I don't think there's actually a use case to use browse with Bing. Advanced data analysis, formerly called code interpreter, use that if you have advanced computing needs. If you have, again, a lot of stats, if you need to do some advanced coding, anything like that. The basic GPT-4 isn't great at advanced calculations, advanced statistics, advanced data visualizations. So use ADA if you need that. Plugins, I would say use plugins mode for just about anything. Anytime I start a new chat, again, you can't switch modes. I almost always start in plugins. And DALL-E 3, again, this is great. It is included with your ChatGPT Plus subscription, and it's actually a pretty good model. So, that is if you want to generate images within ChatGPT, that's your best bet. So, I hope this was helpful. I know this lasted a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but this is something I get questions on all the time. So if this was helpful, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter, and we're going to have a lot more coming to you soon. Thanks, y'all.